Hi folks, with Tassless today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. Please listen to this presentation as you would a radio broadcast. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the social division and the divisiveness generally of the public's interactions with the police and the view that police authority and police orders or instructions have no legitimacy. Now, I've been looking at some things like body cam footage and so on, and what's the primary cause of dramas in interacting with police? Is it people disputing, say, a traffic stop or something like that? If so, they would take it to court, and the courts seem particularly sympathetic to minority groups these days. So the chances are they would have a decent chance of getting a very sympathetic hearing. But this is not the issue here. The issue here is the legitimacy of the police to issue instructions. Now, I'm just looking at and I kept some statistics here and I'll just refer to them now. And okay, so out of 200 police and other cam footage here, but primarily police cam, there are 200. These are all traffic stops, nearly all traffic stops. There's a couple of others, but primarily traffic stops over some relatively minor things like, the tail lights out or the headlights out, or the tires are bald, or the tint is not to spec, and these sorts of things. So it's not like it's the end of the world. That there's a relatively minor fine, just pay the fine, and it's all over. That'd be the end of it. Just do what the police say. So anyway, it's 9% white male, and of those, all bar two were drunk people around trailer parks, living on trailer parks, that sort of thing. 17% were white Hispanic females, and 74% were black. Probably slightly more women than men, but it was pretty equal there with black. So 74% black. This is, these people again are being stopped for relatively minor things, and cop the fine and go, and if you dispute the fine, gee, take it to court, that's your right. But instead, these things are turning into dramas now. All of them ended up involving an arrest, a violent arrest at that, and high drama in every instance. So it just seems very strange that such a minor thing could turn into this. But the issue every time came back to the police have no legitimacy. You have no legitimate authority, and a lot of people saying you can't tell me what to do. I don't have to do what you say. This type of thing. It's quite childish, but nonetheless. So someone will get stopped again for a tail light. Show me your license and registration. No, I won't do that. Well, you have to. I'm pulling you over because of your faulty tail light, and I've asked to see you have to show me it's the law says I'm allowed to ask you this. No, I don't care what the law says. I'm not giving you the license. I'll ask you 3 times here, but if you haven't done that, then I have no option but other than to arrest you. You're not touching me. Don't you touch me. There's screaming and hollering and particularly with the black suspects, every one of them seems to follow a script almost. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do nothing. And no matter what they've done, they claim they haven't done, even though it's all on camera what they've done, they still claim I didn't do nothing. Why are you arresting me? Why? Again, it comes back to this, that the black people have been trained to take the position that the police are all racist Nazis. If it's a black police officer, then he's just some Uncle Tom that sold out to the racist Nazis. So either way, it doesn't matter. but they perceive themselves as oppressed victims, no matter what crime they've committed, no matter what lies they've told the police or anything like that. And so they refuse to accept lawful orders and directions as issued by the police. And then on top of that, they'll try and fight it out or run away. So how do you think it's going to end? It's going to end in handcuffs, and you're going to be down in a police cell in prison. So this seems to me to be, you couldn't imagine behaviour that's more counterproductive. But yet these people do not only do it, but seem to think that I'm fighting back against the man. I'm doing good things. I'm a virtuous person, and I'm a good person because I'm fighting back against this terrible oppression. But hold on a minute, you're doing 90 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone. You've been stopped by police. You broke the law. What's the discussion here? There's no debate. But instead it'll turn into a struggle and a punch up and at times even a shooting. In one instance, a black guy threatens the police, "I'm going to get my gun." And what do you think the police are going to do? and so they put the cuffs on him. But I must say, in all the struggles that I've a few that I've watched here, the police seem to have to go through an ordeal to get the cuffs on. If it's that complicated, put cuffs on, assuming the person has been non-cooperative and struggling, then maybe there's some sort of a plan B of cuffs that are needed, because it doesn't appear to be very practical. Nonetheless, coming back to things, there wasn't a single instance where the black person was complying, and once they realised the jig was up, they would then make an attempt to be, but sir, and all this sort of stuff, but done in a rather disingenuous way. Pretty much the same thing with white women being pulled over. Instead, they'd sort of take the middle class Karen snotty sort of thing of I want the name of your supervisor. You can't touch me. Don't touch me. I want your badge number, and trying to play the power, the reverse power game here. I'm in charge, not you. And really the with some exceptions of again the trailer park sort of situation, or maybe people, drug addicts. Pretty much all the white men were complying. They just, yep, okay, fine, just give me the ticket and I'll be on my way. And they pretty much all had ID. Of the black people, not many had ID, and many of those had outstanding warrants, and they were unlicensed, and they were banned from driving for long periods of time, like 10 years, which seems remarkable. But again, it comes back to the thing of LGBTQ people are saying, well, you're a straight guy or a straight white guy. Straight white guys are evil, fascist, Nazi, Hitler, racist. I don't have to do what you say. I'm morally superior to you. Therefore, I don't have to do what you say. And by extension, the laws don't apply to me because that's white man's law or straight people's law. So that's something I can refuse as well, and I have every right to refuse it. Now, given how often these people get bail or get just sort of very lenient good behaviour bonds, people that have been 5 times for robbery, armed robbery, violent this and so that, and every time they've been given just some sort of probationary sentence. I'll come back to that in a minute because it's still a relevant factor in the overall scheme of things. So LGBTQ say, well, I don't do what you say. You're just a straight guy. Black people say, well, I have to do what you say because you're a white guy or some Uncle Tom sellout. Women have to say, well, I don't do what you say. You're just part of the misogynist patriarchy. I don't have to take any honest view. So by sowing all these divisions, which the globalists have aggressively done all across the Western world, by sowing these divisions all across society, they've undermined the very essence of the rule of law and even due legal process, and created levels of crime, conflict and social division that never existed previously. And they've been heavily and aggressively, again, promoted by the globalist cabal here, as I assume part of their takeover strategy, because when you're living in a walled enclave, you're an upmarket where there's no minorities around, and you've got armed security guards all over the place, then you don't have to bother with this sort of stuff. It's something that others can bother, and the police who are paid pretty ordinary money to put their lives on the line, they can put up with all this stuff so you don't have to. Now coming to the issue of what to do. Now, if all these people that were, again, it's just a traffic stop, but it's turned into a major drama. The person's refusing to give their ID. They're refusing to exit the car. So that's, I'm going to arrest you. No, you're not. Then they're struggling and fighting with the police, trying to bite the police or spit on them or punch them or headbutt them or something. So then you've got all sorts of other charges getting tacked on. Now, there are people that have had, particularly the black people, have had multiple interactions with the police along these lines, but it's seen through a racial and a social conflict lens. So the courts typically, again, are just saying, oh, well, given the original offence was such a minor thing, we'll overlook the issue of you fighting with the police officers and refusing to accept directions. So which means the person's back on the street again, and effectively their behaviour has been legitimised by the courts. Well, I didn't get into trouble, it must be okay. Just like the climate activists and doomsday that can bring a whole city to a halt, the traffic in the city, and they're given a $50 fine and let back on the street again and do exactly the same thing the next day. They effectively see that their activities are legitimised because they're fighting back against evil. And this is the case. What do you do with these people? Do you throw them all in prison? Do you give them 10, 20 years in the slammer or something? What do you do with them? I don't know what you can do. It's a wider social issue caused by a society that's aggressively trying to dismantle, that's being dismantled by the globalists. And this is the natural expected fallout. I mean, what do you think's going to happen when you say that all men are part of some oppressive patriarchy, misogynist patriarchy? If you're a woman of modest IQ or so on, and you've been indoctrinated into that, and then why do I have to do what you say, policeman? If you're black, then the police are trying to kill me. There's even people on camera, gay, so, oh, don't kill me, don't shoot me, oh, please don't shoot me, don't shoot. They've been pulled over for a taillight that's out. The guy's just trying to give them a ticket. It's even on camera. And they're pretending that their lives are in danger, which is an absolute insanity. Their lives are not in danger, nor have they been. So these sort of views and attitudes are being, again, aggressively fostered and encouraged. And this is the fallout that we see from it. Given then the leniency of the courts in the overall scheme of things, these people are allowed to then go back on the street, and they're saying, gee, I fought back against the man and nothing happened to me. Wow, hey, I'm invincible, which encourages them to continue law breaking, driving a car without a license or that's unregistered and uninsured, and so on and so forth, so that in the end the problem keeps repeating. And but this is something the Western world has brought upon itself, again with the aggressive encouragement of the globalist cabal. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.